Hello, you're listening to The Common Burden. Today we have a very heavy letter. His name is Maxim. He writes about his sister. Hello, my name is Maxim. I am Diana Hajdukova's brother, the same Diana they wrote about in the news. Newlyweds died in shelling, remember that? I'm writing because I can't stay silent, because the news only told the facts, and I want to tell you about her as a person. About my sister. Diana was 19 when she met Danilo. Small, thin, always wearing headphones. She'd been drawing since she was a kid. Her notebooks were filled with sketches of clothes, interiors, all sorts of things. She dreamed of getting into design school, but the war started. Everything fell apart. We lived in a small town near Kiev. When it got dangerous, our parents sent her to Kiev, to our aunt. They thought, it's safer in the capital, more shelters. She told me about Danilo in August 2022. They met on some app. He wrote to her. They met in a park. She called me later, laughing. Max, can you imagine? We were sitting on a bench, sandbags all around, and he's telling me about business. Says, after the war, he'll start his own company. So confident. I asked, Dina, is he normal? Not weird? She laughed. He's normal, kind. He told me I have beautiful eyes, the first time anyone ever said that. She was 19. She fell in love, just like in the movies. Danilo proposed in a bomb shelter. She told me about it later, called me, crying with happiness. She says, Max, you won't believe it. We were sitting in the basement, an air raid siren wailing, everyone on edge, and suddenly he gets down on one knee, pulls out a ring, a simple, silver one, and he says, will you be my wife in this madness? I asked, so what did you say? She laughed through her tears. I said, yes, of course, yes. He's the only one who makes this war feel even a little bit normal. I was silent. I didn't know what to say. Should I be happy or afraid that she was rushing, that it was because of the fear? But she was happy. For the first time in 6 months, truly happy. The wedding was in November 2022. Modest. 10 people, family, a couple of friends. In a small church on the outskirts of Kiev, Diana was in a simple white dress, no veil. Danilo was in a shirt and jeans. There wasn't money for anything more, and it wasn't the time for it. I came. I hugged her outside the church. I say, Dina, are you sure? She nodded. Her eyes were shining. She says, Max, I've never been so sure of anything. He's my person. If anything happens, I want him to be the one next to me. I stayed quiet. I didn't want to ruin the moment. They exchanged notes instead of vows. I saw Diana writing, you are my light in the darkness. Danilo read his aloud. With you, I'm not afraid of anything. After the ceremony, we drank cheap wine from plastic cups. Someone played music from a phone. They danced in the middle of the empty hall. Diana was laughing. Danilo held her as if he was afraid to let go. I thought then, maybe she's right. Maybe you have to live right now, while you can. The last time I spoke with Diana was 3 days before her death. She called in the evening. She says, Max, we have an anniversary soon. In a month. Danilo wants to go somewhere. Maybe to Lviv. It's quieter there. He wants to celebrate properly. I say, Dina, maybe you two should just leave while you have the chance. The Poles are taking people. You could wait it out there. She paused. Then she says, you know, Max, I'm tired of being afraid. I just want to live. We bought flowers for the apartment. Can you imagine? Flowers? In the middle of a war. Danilo says, at least let it be beautiful inside our home. I smiled. I say, are you happy? She paused, then quietly, yes, I am happy, Max. Those were her last words to me. It was an FPV drone attack on October 18th, 2023. I found out in the morning. My aunt called, screaming something into the phone. I didn't understand at first. Then it hit me. Their building, a direct hit. 9 people died. I sat down on the floor. I couldn't get up. I couldn't breathe. My mother was sobbing next to me, saying, Max, she was 19. 19. I was silent because there were no words. I went to identify the body. I didn't want my mother to see that. The rescuers pulled them out after 2 days. They were clearing the rubble by hand. The heavy equipment couldn't get through. Everything was collapsing. When they showed me, I didn't immediately realize it was her. They were found holding each other. Danilo was shielding her with his body. Their hands were still clutching each other. The morgue attendant said quietly, "They didn't suffer. It was instant." But I saw their faces. They suffered. Nearby lay scraps of paper, the notes they exchanged at their wedding. I recognized Diana's handwriting. "You are my light in the darkness." The paper was stained with blood. I took that note. I still have it. They were buried together on the same day. Diana in our hometown, Danilo in Kiev. There were maybe 30 people at Diana's funeral. My mother couldn't stand. They had to hold her up. My father was silent, just stood and stared at the coffin. I read her notes aloud, the same ones she wrote to Danilo. I didn't know what else to say. After the funeral, one of her friends came up to me. He says, "Max, I see them every night. I hear them laughing, and then the explosion, and the screams. I can't make it stop." I nodded, because I see it too. My mother can't look at Diana's photos. She put all the albums away in a closet. She says, "I can't. As soon as I see her face, it all comes back." My father has changed. He's silent. He sits by the window all day staring at nothing. And me, I'm just angry. I'm angry that this happened to them, that they were 19 and 22, that they could have lived a long life, had children, grown old together. But instead, they're lying in the ground, holding each other, under the rubble of their home. I'm writing because I want people to know these aren't just numbers in the news, not just 9 people died. That was Diana, my sister, who had been drawing since she was a kid, who dreamed of design school, who fell in love with a guy from a dating app and said yes to him in a bomb shelter. That was Danilo, who wanted to start his own business, who bought flowers for their apartment in the middle of a war, who shielded his wife with his own body when the ceiling collapsed. They deserved a life, not death under rubble. P.S. Their anniversary would have been in a month. Danilo wanted to take Diana to Lviv to celebrate properly. Instead, I brought flowers to her grave, the same ones they bought for the apartment. My aunt found them in the rubble. The pot was cracked, but the flowers survived. I put it on her grave. I said, "Dina, you were right. You have to live while you can." But she's gone, and I don't know how to live now. Maxim. Written October 25th, 2024, a year after their death. If anyone reads this, please remember Diana and Danilo. They deserved more than 19 years. This was one man's story. There are thousands. Our channel gives a voice to those who dream of peace. Thank you for being with us.